Hello, fellow traders. Welcome back. This is Ryan with another market preview where I give you my outlook and opinions for the S&P and Nasdaq index futures for the coming week. Now, per my usual reminder, I'm not a licensed financial advisor, and none of my videos should be taken as financial advice. It's for entertainment purposes only, and you should not be using any of the information here to take a trade on your own with real money. Quick announcement before we get started. I'm working on a video series about backtesting where I record my process on how I backtest and the results that I find and present all to you week by week. Now, I'm not sure exactly how or when I will be releasing these videos, but if this is something that interests you, make sure you subscribe to my channel and activate that notification bell so you'll be notified right when the video is released. And while you're there, go ahead and give this video a like, and let's get started. So we have here the weekly chart for the dollar index, and we'll note the orange monthly fair value gap and the aqua monthly fair value gap. Price went into the bottom fair value gap, rallied up into the monthly SIBI, and then rejected. And we'll take a look here closer. Price rejected, created imbalance, and another imbalance here. And this white portion is the monthly balanced price range. Now, I've went through this in my previous video for last week, so make sure you go ahead and check that one out if you haven't already. But we're looking at this lower weekly fair value gap. Price went down back into the monthly BISI and then went back up to rebalance the weekly SIBI here. And then last week, price just kind of bounced around between here and consolidated, creating another fair value gap on the week. So if you take a look at the big picture, I'm looking at the order flow is going to be bearish, and I'm looking for price to come down and take the liquidity below this low. But you'll see when we get to the daily chart that because of the consolidation, I want to remain a neutral stance on the dollar index and not really going to be using this to help me for the weekly analysis here. Now going into the daily chart, and we'll just take a look over here, zooming in. We see that this is non-farm payroll last week, and pretty much just bounced up and down between the two fair value gaps here. You can see that this week we've been pretty much consolidating between the two ranges here. So that's why I want to remain a neutral stance. Now, I can see the market going both ways. If it's bullish, I can see price going to take out the high here and reach for the buy side liquidity above here and into the balanced price range. Now on the downside, we do have this imbalance here that needs to be rebalanced, and we have a swing low here and ultimately back over here where I talked about our weekly sell side liquidity. So those are going to be the points of interest, but because of the consolidation this week, I don't really want to go one way or the other. I want to remain neutral for the dollar index and not really going to let this influence my analysis for the indices. Okay, so jumping into the MES weekly chart, we see that price has been rallying up, took out the all-time high back in January 2022, and then price came back down into the weekly fair value gap here, which lines up well with the swing high back in July. Now price went down there about halfway into the fair value gap and then left it going on the upside, and it has not taken out the all-time high just yet. So let's go down to a daily chart, and we'll just zoom in here. So price went down into the BISI, rejected, creating another fair value gap on the daily here. And then we see that we have relative equal highs back on the weekly. Last week we came up close to it, but we haven't taken that out just yet, and price has been somewhat consolidating here. So I actually want to jump down into a 4-hour chart and get a little bit more detail. I am looking for price to take out the liquidity above these relative highs. But let's see how we can do that. So here on the 4-hour chart, we see that price made a big jump here, created a big imbalance here near that daily buy side imbalance, sell side inefficiency. Price rallied up, almost hit it, and then we just been consolidating here. We see that we have the rally up and the decline down. So if I want to see the smooth highs up here get taken out, and not to mention that we also have relative highs here on Thursday and Friday. If I want to see that get taken out, first I want to see a sweep of liquidity. And I could see maybe a sweep of liquidity below this low here, or even below this low here and here, dipping into the daily fair value gap and the 4-hour fair value gap before we rally up. Now, this is kind of far away. I don't really think that price will go down this deep in order to come back and take this out, but definitely I think it's a possibility for this swing low here to get taken out at the price level 1. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove these two, and we'll just pay close attention to this price level 1. And I'll mark this as short-term sell-side liquidity. And I want to drop down to an hourly chart. Same thing, and we'll just expand the graph. So I'm looking for something where price will come down and take the short-term sell side here. Maybe use this candlestick here as an order block. So we can mark this out. This will be the mean threshold of it. And we'll even extend the lines here. We'll make it green. So this will be our hourly order block with the mean threshold. So I want to see price come down, take out the liquidity below the swing low, go into this order block, and then I want to see a rejection, a shift in market structure. Perhaps we'll see some sort of a breaker formation here on the short term, on the lower time frame, or we'll have some kind of mitigation block. And then I want to see price go up to take out the relative highs up here and the weekly buy side liquidity. So that's the ideal situation that I want to see. Considering that we have these smooth highs and relative highs, they just look too juicy, too much liquidity up there. I think price will want to drive up there and take that out. Now, if it all happened in 1 week, I think maybe we can expect this on Wednesday or Thursday. So just a reminder that we have a holiday on Monday, so market will be closed. And then Tuesday, probably won't be expecting much, so that makes Wednesday and Thursday the middle of the week where this move can happen. Here we have the weekly chart for the Nasdaq micros, but it looks really messy. Let me just take everything off so we can get an idea of how the order flow is. We see price rallying up, and then we had a week, the first week of the year, we dropped down into this imbalance, and then like the ES, we went ahead and rallied up away from it. So we rebalanced this inefficiency here. Now I'll put the lines back on, and I just want to focus in on this right here. Zoom in a little bit to make it more clear. I have these green lines drawn out to represent the weekly fair value gap here. So let's go down to a daily and get a better look. So here's the green lines for our weekly fair value gap. Price went down and then rallied away from it. Now on the daily, we see we also have another fair value gap here inside, and we had a fair value gap of SIBI coming down that we've already closed above. So I'm pretty much done with this. I'll just remove it, and we're just going to focus on the BISI here. And we see that we've traded up into a SIBI, and basically for the last 2 days, we had a consolidation here. So like the S&P, we're going to drop down to a 4-hour chart. Okay, so looking at the 4-hour, we went up to that daily SIBI, then we started consolidating here. Now, if you notice that we did drop down into this 4-hour BISI here, so we dealt with this imbalance, and we've just consolidated. Now, I do see the relative highs here. I'm not sure if this is too far for price to reach, but I definitely can see price reaching for the relative highs here and here. And we'll go down to an hour chart to get an idea of how we can see price going about doing that. So like with S&P, I want to see a sweep of liquidity, and the liquidity I see is going to be below this low. Now, I have this marked out. It's a 1-hour fair value gap here, but I only highlighted the exposed portion because we consolidated and price did dip down and rebalance this area, but didn't rebalance the whole gap. So I have this highlighted here as exposed here. If price does come down, I want to see it at least sweep this low here. Now, this low can also get taken out, and we also have another hourly fair value gap here. So this one, definitely want to see this one get taken out. This low, I'm not sure if I want to see this one get taken out or not. It could be a little bit too much of a retracement. Same with ES. We could probably use this here as a order block. And we'll mark this one out again with green. Could be looking for price to drop down into this order block. Something like this. Maybe halfway the mean threshold. And then I want to see a shift in market structure away and have this be used as support, aiming for the highs here for price to go up and reach for. Something like that. So this is all on the hourly. Of course, not really sure. I mean, the price could definitely go up first to take it out, and then we'll start reaching for the liquidity lower. Both ways are possible, and with the dollar index being neutral, don't really want to get too committed one way or another. We just have to see how price plays out. Okay, so that is my weekly preview. But before you go, I just want to remind you once again about the back testing series that I will be doing. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe and activate that bell notification so I can let you know when my videos are dropping. So until next week, good luck trading.